When I was 14 years old, I came out to my 9-year-old sister. We were sitting on the floor in her bedroom, and we were counting coins for a family vacation. We had taken this huge water jug that my stepdad had collected coins in, and we had poured it out all over the carpet, and we're sorting nickels and dimes and rolling them so we could exchange them for spending money. And I just felt compelled. You know those moments in life when you just feel like everything is right and you're supposed to say something or do something? That was one of those moments. So I said, "Madeline, I have something to tell you." And I slowly broke into tears, and then she started crying. And before I could muster the courage to roll out what I was saying, she asked me, "Alex, is it drugs?" I said, "No, I'm just gay." And I laughed a little bit, and she said, "What does that mean?" And we hugged it out. It was great. We were sitting there, just a brother and a sister, in a sea of unrolled coins, tear-soaked faces, and I felt like the richest person in the world. My talk today is about emotions and experiences, and why we should treat them like currency or money. Now, we have a very concrete set of rules for money, and it's something that we can touch and that we understand and that we're taught about from a very young age. But we conceive of emotions and our past experiences very differently. We're taught that they're messy and intangible and hard to manage. And I think we do ourselves a real disservice when we think that way. So today, I'm going to talk about saving, investing, and spending our emotions so that we can lead happier lives, learn more about ourselves, and make better decisions because of it. One of the most influential professors I have ever had, Albus Dumbledore, told me that, of course, it's happening in your head, Alex, or Harry, whatever, but why doesn't that mean that it isn't real? I think that's a really good point. You know, 2 + 2 is 4. Albany is the capital of New York. Inertia is a property of matter. These are things that we learn and that we can point to in books. But I'm terrified, or that really hurt my feelings, or I'm having the best time of my life. Those are also facts. We just know by pointing to ourselves. And some people even conceive of their decision-making very differently. I make decisions with my head. I make decisions with my heart. And I think that's kind of a false dichotomy. It's all happening up here. It's all happening here. It's all happening here. You make decisions how you make decisions, and whether you think that you use tangible, hard data or not, doesn't really make a difference. So with that in mind, I want to talk about applying some rules we have for money to our emotions. And first, I want to talk about saving. We're always told that a penny saved is a penny earned, or it's important to start a savings account and build wealth over time. And I think the exact same thing is true when we're talking about knowledge. An experience saved is an experience worth learning from. Now, when I told my sister that I was gay, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was terrified. And it's easy to talk about it now in a lighthearted spirit and to laugh about it or think back, but that's only because I know how things turned out. At that time, that was the most important moment in my life to date. All too often in life, hindsight bias creeps in, and we think about our past only in relation to our present self. We don't take the time to chronicle our emotions as they're happening. I journal, and I'm not sure what your preferred method of recording the past or present is. But to me, writing down how I'm feeling in relation to everything else I know, not just bullet points, not just facts, but how what I'm going through interacts with my common sense and my best form of wisdom, really helps me to understand what I'm going through. And when I look back on these times, June 14th, 2004, I see the Alex that existed then, and I see the Alex that has existed since then. I see the Alex who exists now, and the Alex who will exist in the future. Maybe you've heard of compounding interest, or when you think about saving money, you understand that people who start saving money early on in life, even if they only put away a little at a time, are much better off financially than people who start saving halfway through their lives, even if they start putting away more then. The same is true with knowledge and emotions. If we start saving now and writing down bit by bit how our emotions are intertwined, we can become much wealthier looking back in life. Next, I want to talk about investing. We're always told to put our money in solid investments. We diversify our assets, we go buy stocks, we buy real estate, and we hope that by doubling down, we'll become wealthy on our return on investments. And the same is true with emotions and experiences. When we use them to make better decisions, we become happier as a byproduct. I invested the knowledge gained from telling my sister when I told my best friend, when I told my aunts and uncles, when I told my cousins, and when I started telling strangers and being honest when I was asked straight up. If you put these emotions in the bank and think about how you feel in the future by putting yourself in a future scenario, you'll become much wiser for it. Investing our emotions is an absolutely necessary way to move forward making decisions. And finally, I want to talk about spending. And I think this is probably the most important thing we conceive of when we talk about money. Because money's value doesn't come from just having it and hoarding it. It comes from spending it and buying things. And contrary to popular cliche, money does buy happiness when we spend it wisely on other people in the form of gifts or shared time, when we use it to travel or to learn, or when we use it to create meaning and inspire change in the world. And the same is absolutely true with emotions and experiences. When we use our emotions wisely after carefully considering how they will affect us and other people, we create value. By telling my sister, even though she didn't know what it meant to be gay, she understood that I was opening up to her and investing in her as a person. And it's because of these moments of vulnerability, not in spite of them, that we really grow close to other people. We also need to understand that people's experiences are hard facts, and to take other people at their word, because that's how they see their world. When other people give you knowledge, it's something to be understood as currency, something with value, and you can spend it in the future by paying it forward. I want to leave you with a technique that I've used to gain knowledge, experiential and emotional knowledge. And I think it's made me a little richer, but I'm still not sure. And that comes down to these 3 words. I'm a student. And these words used to terrify me, and they still kind of do. I'm only a student for 3 more weeks, but I always felt like an amateur when I used these words. Like, I'm not an expert. I don't really know anything. What can I give you? Nothing. I'm a student. But then I realized that this was completely imposed on myself by myself, and that when I told other people that I'm a student, they framed themselves as teachers automatically, and they want to share. People love to talk about themselves, but they don't love to talk about the facts. They love to talk about their experiences and their emotions and their wisdom. By opening up to people and saying, I'm a student, I was given tons of unsolicited or solicited advice. I started writing emails. If I had any questions, my favorite authors, CEOs, lawyers, judges, people whose jobs I wanted in 5 years or 25 years, people who I'd read about in random articles on the internet. And most people don't get back to you, I'll be honest. Many people don't get back to you. But those who do so with no complex agenda. They just want to spend. They want to spend their knowledge, their emotions, and their experiences on you. Now, one key difference between money and emotions is that money is zero-sum and finite. And when I give you $5, I no longer have that $5. But when I tell you a story or share my wisdom with you, we both keep it for as long as we want. Imagine if money worked the same way. Poverty wouldn't be an issue. No one, I'm convinced, would be hungry or homeless. Now imagine if we leveraged that infinitely compounding power of knowledge against the world's most difficult problems. It's hard to imagine that hunger or homelessness could withstand that as well. So as you think about the next 6 amazing student speakers, think about how you'll save, invest, and spend the knowledge and emotions and experiences that they're going to share with you. And use these 3 words, whether you're a student for 3 more weeks or 3 more years, and find creative ways to retain that wealth throughout the rest of your life. I'm a student, but what do I know? Thank you.